Joao, welcome. Appreciate you having you on, and you teaching us how to do this. From the what do you say, the audience side or the interviewee side today. So, we got to talk with you about a year ago on Twitter Spaces, and that was a great opportunity. So, appreciate you having on and being the second edition of Tokenized Revolution.
Yeah, man, it was my pleasure. Nice to hear from you guys again and to collaborate.
So, Joao, if you could just give us a quick little background on who you are and what you're doing. I think a huge part of that is where you're from and like the major focus of your goals as far as what you do.
Perfect. Yeah. So for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been helping with crypto education and crypto adoption in Brazil. From like in this time, I did a little bit of everything to helping DAOs grow, doing podcasts, helping with governance, getting involved with some Brazilian projects that aim to do different stuff in blockchain, from like having a perp DEX to fractionalized NFTs. And more recently, I have a crypto media company that's called Modular Crypto. We do education, events, and information. We have different segments, doing a lot of stuff in Portuguese to connect with the audience. And at the same time, I'm the leader of ICP Hub Brazil, so helping the ICP blockchain, internet computer, to have a new word, I would say, in the Brazilian community.
Very, very cool. And we did talk briefly, just so we can help you plug it. You do have an event coming up in February. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, we do. One of our verticals inside Modular Crypto is events. In 2024, we did more than 7 events in different types of, different regions of Brazil, to the northwest, to the southwest. We connected the community, made some cool new projects, get connected, and get also involved with the Web3 that we have in Brazil. All this together, folks, and together the community, to an event we're going to be doing next February 25 to March 1st in Belo Horizonte in Brazil. It's close to Rio and São Paulo for the ones that never been here. It will be a lovely experience with hackathon, workshops, conference, and everything will end up in a carnival party. So everyone's invited to come. I would love to have you guys here. I was talking with Dave and the folks from Etherfuse just before the recording. And yeah, I would love to have you guys here with us in Brazil in this warm weather and getting to know not only the Brazilian community, but also the Brazilian culture.
Awesome. We're going to come. I'm going to make it happen. We have a lot of friends down there that we need to talk with, like Transfero and Fuse Capital and Mercado Bitcoin. I'm sure we'll be able to kind of do a little tour and come see them. So we're going to come. We'll figure it out, how to meet you all down there. And fun fact, my co-founder, AJ Taylor, he used to live in Brazil. He used to live in Santa Maria, I think is the name. It's by Iguaçu Falls, around there. So somewhere around there.
Nice.
He should have been on this podcast, so you guys could, I don't know, relate on what being in Brazil is like. But you have me instead. So I have a question about your events, and it kind of relates to we do want to get into RWAs, but it's just brought up an interesting point. As someone starting a company and you have a product in the blockchain space, there's no playbook for marketing your products. And in many cases, you could get in trouble depending on how you market your products. We've kind of relied on events and doing events, but we're not good at it. What is some ways that you've seen people partner with you that's worked to kind of be able to market or meet with communities or build their products with events that you've held? And how could like a blockchain company or a startup work with you to kind of get their name, their word, their products out there and in front of people?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think it will depend on what the project are and like want it to be. So for example, L1 or L2 will differ from like a RWA or a wallet project. But in general, we have like some different type of approach that we need to understand in Brazil, because in Brazil, like the majority of crypto content, as we know, like is not in Portuguese. It is in English. Like when we have a little bit more is in Spanish, but the folks in Brazil, do not speak neither of these languages. So like for a long time, we got a little left behind. And what is the result of this? We have big Brazilian Web3 communities, but they are not like protocol communities. They are like just communities that just a bunch of folks that gather around, connected like with different folks and created something, create a community or create a project. Not exactly a Web3 a blockchain project, but a community, as we know, like Web2 communities, game communities, like I don't know, like TradFi communities. And it's interesting because a lot of the projects get to Brazil trying to develop their own communities like from scratch, and they forget that they could and can use the other like communities that already exist in Brazil to connect, to create some kind of activations, and to leverage what we already have here. So I think this is one of the things that we do with Modular Crypto, leverage the existing communities that we have. We like to think of ourselves as a bridge, as a modular bridge, as this modular culture that we have. In one way, we bridge the connections, the education, and the information of the crypto culture to Brazil, and at the same time, we show the potential and what the community in Brazil feels and wants. So we like to think of ourselves as this bridge, like for the Brazilian community and for the project that want to enter the Brazilian community, so they can get a more personalized approach and not just some marketing campaign where they're gonna like get a few users, a lot of bots, and and then it will not like end up being something sustainable for them.
I want to reach back to some of my experiences working in Mexico, and I'll say first, I wish that I would have had somebody like you in Mexico that we could have worked with. And so I recommend to anyone who's looking to jump into Mexico from a foreign country to work with you, and I'll especially lean on some of our history. We the background at Etherfuse is we initially started our operations in Mexico, so we worked with the government there to be regulated out of Mexico. The problem with that is both the founder and I are from the United States, and so when we wanted to get out and do events in Mexico, we literally just started to do them ourselves. And it was kind of a nightmare, to be honest, for us to go in and try to say, who are the people? Where are the communities? And I wish that we would have had someone like you to help us get out there. Now, I will say, sometimes it's hard to have somebody articulate the value of your product. So, do you guys work with startups to understand their product and represent their product on their behalf, or do you usually just throw events and have them come along?
Like it depends on the partner, but something that we are seeing grow more in these last few months, I would say, is like really understanding what the partner is and how can we leverage them. So for example, it's going to be completely different an event for TradFi than an event for like the Web3 community, from an event from the gaming community. And like we can get folks to an event, like we can get attendees, but that usually not the only KPI or the only metric that we should be looking into when we do an event. Like we have to understand the folks that will be valuable to the event, that will be like bringing their own stuff to the event, like doing their own activations, or even maybe giving a talk about something that they are like specialists. So we are trying like every single day to understand more the projects and create a long-term sustainable relationship with them, because it's easy like to throw an event around, like to do a meetup or something like that, but when you really understand what your partner or the project that you are talking to do, and like how can you get to that customer that will like resemble the most with their product that they are bringing to Brazil or that they are developing, that's when we see the most value in our relationship, and that's what we are seeing in these last few months that we will be bringing to 2025, because like we have a lot of relationships as you guys do. Like we can do a bunch of stuff in the bull market, but to have like a sustainable and long-term partnership, it will be like the best. So we can get the best metrics, the best communities, and create a sustainable operations for the folks that aims to enter Brazil, for example.
Very cool. Switching topics a little bit, just help me understand first, what is working or what products are useful in Brazil? like what do you see like just users kind of lean towards or look for in the blockchain space, so that people wanting to enter can see if they're have an idea if their product is even useful or something desired there. So what's working there, or what do Brazilians want?
Yes, that's a good question because like I think what's working here is different from like what Brazilians want. Like for example, like we see a lot of Brazilians involved with DeFi protocols in the best sense as possible. So like we have Uniswap, we have Aave, we have like this type of stuff. But like that's not what Brazilians need. Like that's what like Web3 native folks use on a daily basis. But most of the times are folks that are already like uh, tech savvy, I would say. And the majority of Brazil, like, is not tech savvy for Web3 at least. They are tech savvy for using new payment methods as Pix. That's something that emerged from Brazil a few years ago, like instant payments methods and from the government. So like we are tech savvy in the way of trying new digital forms of payments and etc. But in the blockchain ecosystem, like we are not tech navy. We really want the basics and something that we are seeing like every single day grows in Brazil, growing in Brazil is like payments, man. Payments is
Yeah.
something that we see like uh, getting some good traction in these last few months and last few years. On ramp and off ramp products, we have a good relationship of product in Brazil that's called Picnic. Sorry, they do on ramp and off ramp, and they're growing a lot. They have a smart account, so they onboard folks with their email and not with their seed phrases. And also we have like some really cool and big projects launching their own credit or debit cards in Brazil because the payments is growing a lot. I would say like this is the ones that we see the most growth, but also something that we are going to be talking today about tokenization. Like I don't know if it's because the government's pushing this CBDC and blockchain agenda with their Drex CBDC, but we are seeing a lot of projects and a lot of folks interested in tokenizing assets. And not like only Web3 folks, but also Web2 folks and banks that want to be part of this. But like for the majority of their time, they didn't understand like how can we buy or sell Bitcoin. Like this is not exactly what we want with blockchain. And they are finally realizing that they have like this huge world of like tokenizing assets that they can be involved and seeing the potential in this.
Very cool. Let me a quick plug, or one of the main interests of Brazil for us is we just entered with a Brazilian product. We call it Tesouros, which is just, unless we misspelled it, treasuries in Portuguese. But we've created an interest-bearing stablecoin. We call it stable bond, where it's collateralized by NTNs and LTNs. The idea, is similar to our Mexican product, which is CETES, which is short-term Mexican treasuries, and like our U.S. treasuries. So these tokens, they rebase, they're yield bearing, and so as you hold them, they earn interest just like a checking account. What we saw was Brazil was a big market, and it could help the remittance flow, move from U.S. treasuries to something more native. But also, one of the kind of use cases we're hoping to persuade is for people to hold their assets on chain. So if you hold Tesouros, you essentially have a Brazilian checking account, or like an interest bearing checking account. And so perhaps, right now when you see people send money with remittances, they onboard it, send it, and it gets immediately off ramped. Do you see this behavior of people holding, like, I would say, savings on chain, or do you see when payments, do you see it mostly being on ramped and off ramped?
Like I think until this year we saw more like the payment side, but from this year I think we are seeing some big changes in Brazil because our fiat money is in their lowest ever. So like I
Yeah.
think people are finally reaching a point where they are feeling that crypto and blockchain are a way of escaping this government agenda, government, everything that we see here. And for example, like two years ago, everyone from Brazil was going to Argentina because Argentina was so cheap. Everyone could be like spending, drinking things, and eating there. Like we are seeing quite the opposite right now. Like folks
Wow.
thinking that Argentina is very expensive and Brazil is so cheap. And
Yeah.
folks are doing the opposite, like going from Argentina to Brazil and enjoying the Brazilian summer, for example, enjoying the Brazilian country as a whole. So we are getting, unfortunately, like I'm not saying this with proud, but unfortunately, we are getting to a point where like we're seeing that the folks are needing to get their monies on chain, because if they allows the government to control all of it, they are like basically losing money every single
Yeah.
day. So they are trying to get a way out, I would say.
A way out from the currency, correct? Because you're saying they're losing value through inflation.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, I took some notes before this call. December 11th, Brazil raised interest rates to 12.5%, which is pretty high, which kind of just signals, the currency is needing help to raise funds. So I can see that. Any hope that it's going to turn around? They did, Brazilian government did, float a plan to cut spending here pretty soon. But what's your thoughts on that? Is it going to happen?
I don't know, man. Like it's hard because like this last few months have been really hard for like the whole government and the whole money structure here in Brazil. Like even our CBDC that I was mentioning here a few moments ago, like we don't know if it will go further because we had like a change of presidents, and we don't know like if it will keep being developed or not. So we have a lot of uncertainty right now, and like the monetary aspect of Brazil is not looking good. Maybe it will change, but like the folks that are near to me or the folks that are close to me are like every single day try to understand more blockchain, Web3, crypto, because they are realizing that when they have all their money in Brazil, they are leaving money on the table and they are
Yeah.
basically losing money. So I have like some friends of my dad sending me message, hey, I want to schedule a lunch with you so you can explain to me more crypto because I don't want to leave all my money here in Brazil. Like I have some family members doing the same. So it's not the best, I would say, even for us that work in crypto. Like we earn in dollar, okay, but like when we have to spend, we spend in the local currency. So it's not that really that good too. So like unfortunately we are seeing this in these last few moments, but few months, and I don't know if it's gonna change in the near future. Maybe in like in the mid future, like in 4 or 5 years. But at least for us that understand crypto, understand blockchain, I don't think we have all this time. Like we can have approach that we can
Yeah.
we solve easier and have like a uh, like ability to when you rest your head on your pillow to be worry free, right?
Yeah, yeah. The money you earned is stays holds its value for sure, and that's one of the great use cases of crypto. And I think when I go to like what I would say is newer markets, or maybe say markets outside the West, I see a lot of use cases for people in, we'll say, Brazil or Mexico or Argentina wanting access to outside that market. One thing we see here in the West is actually investors wanting inside the market because they believe there is opportunity for growth. So, an example, like real estate in Mexico is growing crazy amounts. A lot of people retire from the States and go to Mexico. And one of the best ways to access that value is through tokenization. In Brazil, are you seeing any products or tokenization products of people trying to give outsiders access into investments inside Brazil?
Yes, we do have like some folks and some projects working on like with assets like such as real estate assets, and but not only that, like alternative assets too. Like so carbon credits are growing a lot in Brazil in this last few years. It's something that's is interesting here in the region is we are using blockchain. So, for example, the notary that we have here in Brazil, we already have like something called e-notary that basically creates, I don't know like the exact word, but creates an attestation in
Yeah,
blockchain. Like we have like some different states doing this already, creating some kind of attestations in blockchain because like it's it's easier, it's
Yeah.
transparent. You have like a track record that you can really track because at least in Brazil, it's this notary segment is kind of an inside joke because in the past they had everything in paper and
Yeah.
they lose like a bunch of stuff. So it's a meme to go to one of these places and like say, hey, I don't think they will find what I need because they lost it. So we are seeing a change on that. We are seeing also some big brands trying to work out some like IP protection too using blockchain because this is something that we didn't see a lot until now. But in one way or another, I think the majority of folks and assets are still in the hands of banks because
Yeah.
they're the ones that have like the most money that can interact with a bunch of different stuff. And yes, like we have seen like huge amount of Brazilian banks tokenizing assets or buying assets that are already tokenized. So it's growing a lot, I would say. It's growing in a fast pace, most focused on like uses. So for example, we have a big clothing brand in Brazil that's using blockchain to track their own supply chain. And it's something
Yeah.
that's for us that works and live this is simpler. Like they are just tracking stuff, but for Web2, like it's a huge thing that they are doing a different stuff. But yeah, like we are seeing different experiments. I just think that we need to, as you were saying, like we need to show them most, not only for Brazil but for abroad too.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting use cases, like you're talking about. I would say Web 2 use cases that Web 3 actually makes easier, but it doesn't have to do with any sort of monetary. So I'd say a notary is a perfect use case. I think we'll start to see stuff move that direction. But one of the bigger blockchain companies in the world, Paystand, you wouldn't even know. I believe they are. Jeremy's a friend of mine. They, for the most part, just do payments and payroll. If you use their product, you'd have no idea that the backend is on the blockchain. So there's a lot of utility in blockchain products that don't even look like they're kind of the mullet. You know, they look like just normal companies. But it's easy to maintain this information on the blockchain. So that's interesting to see. Two kind of questions. The first one: would you say are the top 3 to 5 products, blockchain based products that are being utilized in Brazil today? And then second, what do you want to see? What's not there that you'd like to see?
Nice, some tough questions. Yeah, so I think like some of the biggest projects that we have in Brazil, like not only on tokenization, but being part of blockchain in general. I think Transfero is one of them. Like they're big here. They have like a huge, big representation. They are, I don't know if they are OGs, but they are almost OGs if they are not OGs yet. We have
they
Picnic
are
doing a, they are OGs,
they are
right?
awesome. Oh, dude, they're awesome. I want to give a shout out. It's clear to me why they're successful. By the way, so when you talk to companies, hard time to get response back. When I talk to Transfero, the CEO makes a phone call with me like the next day. They move fast. They move like a startup. So I love those folks. Hopefully, we can get a little clip me saying I love them. But great people. So I'm glad that to hear that they're being used quite a bit.
Yeah. Yes, they are. They are really one of the biggest projects we have, if not the biggest. We also have Lumix. They are basically helping projects like Web2 projects create their own blockchain. So, for example, one really cool use case of blockchain we have here in Brazil, it's called like we have like a platform to buy and to sell, basically to buy tickets for events, such as we have Luma, we have in Brazil what's called Simpla.
Yeah.
Simpla, it's just like a tool to buy and to create your own event. And right now they are using in their back end blockchain to create like the whole supply chain for tickets that are bought in their own platform. That's really really cool, and they did this with the help of Lumix. That was the project that I was mentioned before. We also have Picnic that I mentioned earlier, doing smart accounts to on ramp and doing off ramp for folks in Brazil. We have BRLA, that's a Brazilian stable coin. Very nice guys too, doing a whole
Yeah.
bunch of stuff. Yeah, like I think I mentioned quite a few. I
Yeah.
probably forgot a whole bunch of others that are doing a really, really great job. But yeah, like I think we have some projects that are really, really nice working on in Brazil. And these are the projects that I mentioned are projects that are trying to not only show the potential of Brazil, but are also doing partnerships and doing stuff abroad to show the potential that we have here. So I think they deserve a lot of recognition too.
Very cool. And following what's not there, what do you want to see?
Oh yeah, I forgot this one. Yeah, this was the trickiest one. Yeah, so what I want to see, like I think you mentioned something that's interesting because like the majority of projects that we have nowadays in blockchain and not in Brazil but in general are blockchain focused. And this is not where like the majority of people want to see. Like they want to have an experience, a simple experience where most of the time they don't even know that they are using blockchain or which blockchain they're using, which currency they are paying, if they have like tokens to gas fees or not. I think like creating simpler experiences is something that we lack a bit in Portuguese, at least because like the majority of things are not in Portuguese. So this is something that I would like a lot in Brazil. And something else, let me think. Yeah, like some other stuff about like payments in Brazil maybe because we have like so credit and debit cards for payments in Brazil, but something that really didn't get a lot of attention in Brazil yet is like bringing small or medium business to accept crypto as payment. And this is something that probably is not that hard. Like you have to have a uh, good business development folk. You have to have a good understanding of the community. But basically, if I go to the bakery around the corner, I could use like some QR code to pay them with crypto, or even accept some USDT or thing like that. I think that would be very valuable for us in Brazil because we have a huge bunch of folks that receives in crypto that have crypto, but they have to do all the offering process before using it, and bringing some easier way to use it would be very, very cool.
Awesome. So it sounds like, for the most part, if I could summarize, better integrations with standard products that don't necessarily feel like crypto, just using crypto in an easier way. Sign on with an email, send money,
Yes.
go spend, be able to spend it.
Yes, and I think that's something that we still lack in the ecosystem as a whole. I think interoperability too, because we have some good projects that don't communicate with some other project or other blockchain. So if I have money on the blockchain X, I will have to use a bridge to bring it to
Yeah.
blockchain A, and that's not like a common person experience.
Yeah.
That's just for some crypto natives.
Yeah, I agree. From our experience, we work with a few Latin American companies who do like payments across Latin America. They really want access into bonds because they want to hold funds that they use in interest-bearing, vehicles, right, or products. The immediate thing I have to do is teach them how to use the blockchain. I say, okay, here's a wallet on board. Like, how do I get money on it? So I can't even get to selling my product or promoting my product to somebody who's come to me and asked for it before I have to teach them, like, this is a wallet. And that can be very, very frustrating. So I'm with you. Better integration. We have a lot of cool world changing products, but how do we integrate them? I can tell you a lot of the problem, the reason why it's tough is regulatory. It's, you know, we're regulated personally to, with crypto, create these tokenized assets that, that are collateralized with real world assets. We don't have the regulatory ability to take fiat. So we have to partner with somebody who does have that regulatory ability. So I think we'll start to see a consolidation as regulation gets more clear. I think you'll see banks start to buy people up and integrate. But unfortunately, it is a little bit of, it feels like we call it, bubble gum and Band-Aid put together. And I'm excited for a world where that's not the case. It's just as easy sending money through an app that you can
Absolutely.
connect your bank account with. So if there's anything else you want our viewers, our listeners to know about you that we can help you promote or think about in respect to Brazil, anything that people looking into Brazil should know, about entering Brazil.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna shield Brazil for a few seconds. No, I think that was mostly what we talked. I think we got a great good understanding of what's happening here. But like something that I could not leave before saying is like invest in Brazil in any way you can. Like not only financial capital, I'm saying like intellectual capital. We have a whole bunch of folks working or interested in working in Web3, really good, hardworking folks that want to get involved. And sometimes they, as I mentioned, get left behind because they do not like they can even speak English, Spanish, Germany, or other language, but sometimes we see that these folks got a little left behind, and folks like even like individuals or community or projects. So pay attention to Brazil. We have like I understand that don't have the best regulatory framework yet, but we are trying to get. I don't know if we're
Yeah,
going to be able to it, but in one way or another, at least we're better than USA in 2024. I don't know if 2025
yeah,
will be the same with like these new changes that to happen. But yeah, like don't negligence Brazil. Like we have a whole bunch of folks here trying to get more involved, and it's cool because like Brazil, it's a huge place, and we have like a lot of potential and a lot of space to projects to create applications that people want to use. Not just create a problem and then create application to solve this problem that you created. Like create some real use applications, and yeah, like just connect with the community. We are very receptive, and yeah, if anyone by any time come to Brazil, don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to make some connections and to help you or your brand to be more effective in the country. But yeah, I think that's it for me, Dave. I'm not gonna be chilling a lot right now.
All right, and I agree with you. We're gonna leave some contact details up for you. So anyone who wants access to invest in what human capital or products or to promote or to enter, I think you're the right person that they can connect with. So to get started. So, Joao, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate all you've done for us. Appreciate talking with you before. We're gonna come out and see you. I'm gonna make it happen. So you'll have to help
Yes.
help us walk the streets and view Carnival, but also meet some great people in the space. So we'll see you soon.
See you soon, friend. Count on me.
All right, thank you.